Happy Saturday, everyone. Margaret Brown, CEO and founder of socializela.com. And I am coming to you live today to just publicly celebrate our 12 years in business. I cannot believe that it's been 12 years. Time has flown. I can't say that enough. I will reminisce a bit, and so I will show you and tell you some of my earlier memories, and they seem like they were just yesterday. So I don't know if you can notice or not, but I am in an RV. We are camping, and it's just been a really great way to celebrate the 12 year. I intentionally planned, my husband and I planned this out. I just wanted a time to reflect, and I had thought about doing this live outside so you could see all the Joshua trees. It's so beautiful, and the mountains and the giant rocks, but it is super windy and freezing. Well, freezing to me. Um, so I am indoors. I've been indoors all day long. I was outside all day yesterday. It was perfect. It was beautiful. I sat by the fire. I have a bunch of pictures. I'm sure I'll be sharing them soon. But yeah, it was so nice. And I did go live to our private group yesterday, so they got to see it. Yay. But I didn't do this live because today is actually the birthday. And I thought, oh, tomorrow's great. And was not anticipating that wind. Anyway, today we are celebrating 12 years of business. And I wanted to just share some wins, some challenges, some lessons learned. And I get to do this once a year, and it's just a great time for me to think about it and for me to impart some wisdom to my friends and colleagues and everyone who follows us and, who we're on this journey with. And so today, Socialize LA has definitely just stepped up to the game as far as like industry standards and small business standards. We hired 2 official employees to date, at least within the last 6 months anyway, and earlier. All team members of Socialize LA have been contractors. And so one of the things that we did in 2020 was hired actual employees. And I know it sounds a little weird to be doing that in 2020 when we are in the middle of craziness. But as I've mentioned before, although we weren't, immune to what has happened in the economy and in the world throughout this year, we did find ways to pivot and just continue to do business in the direction where we were going, to add some services and to add options for clients that otherwise they wouldn't have been able to continue to do business with us, just in the predicaments that they were in. And so adding these additional services, the hybrid service, which I'm not going to talk about right this minute, but that was a game changer, and it really helped our business to grow actually this year. Also, our Flex Your Influence community is also another great way for people to do business with us who are doing their own marketing. And then, of course, our outsourced CMO services and our done for you services. So anyway, this year was a challenging year, and I went with my gut. I made calculated risks, and I am so glad that I did, because right now is probably the most excited I've been about the business than I have been in 12 years. And I'm not just saying that. And I was excited when I first started. But where we're at right now is pretty phenomenal from a business owner standpoint, but also from, we are a service to the small business community. And so from that standpoint, I'm very excited as well, because we're just getting better to serve the people who trust us. So 12 years ago, I want to give you a little bit of a background of how the company started. Like, where in the world did I even get this idea? What was going through my head? I was living in New York City and just having a great time. I was working for a company that really, I mean, I was making a decent living, and I was doing sales and marketing for a travel company. And so, what else did I need? I was living in the greatest city and just having a great time. I had amazing roommates, and, life was good. But there came a time when I was living in New York and I thought, what am I going to do next? What's my next step? And I had also, those thoughts paired with the thoughts of, okay, I am working for this corporation here in New York on 34th and Park, and I have ideas and the company does not want to implement them. They just want to go status quo. At that time, 12 years ago, Facebook became a more widely used platform. There was, website chat. There was MySpace, but of course that wasn't really the place for the travel company. But Facebook started making an appearance on the scene. LinkedIn was coming up on the scene. And my question for them was, hey, why don't we start marketing and having some initiatives through these channels, at least having a presence here so we can engage with our potential clients here? And the answer was no. That's just a fad. That's not something that we want to do. And so the frustration basically, day after day, week after week started building up. And as an employee of the company, I would see consultants coming in and out of the office for different departments. And I thought, wow, consultants have such a pool here. If I was a consultant, I bet they would take my advice. And I mean, obviously, it was a lot more difficult than that, but that's what was going through my head. So one day I was walking down 6th Avenue, Avenue of the Americas in Midtown. If you know the area, then you know what I'm talking about. It was such a surreal moment. And I'm walking south because I had walked north to the park. And then I was walking south back to my apartment on 50th and 2nd. And I thought, okay, I am going to start my own company and I am going to support businesses. And that's it. I didn't even really understand what I was doing. I didn't really know anyone. I didn't consult anyone to say, is this even possible? But that was it. And from that moment on, this took on like the majority of my brain. And that's where a lot of my energy has been spent since. I can't even imagine myself working in corporate America. Not that I look down on that. I think that it's just another option. I mean, there's a lot of security, but there's a lot of opportunity in corporate America, and I think it's awesome. People that I love work in corporate America and are, do very well and have a lot of luxuries that I do not have. But there again, as a small business owner, if you are a small business owner, there are luxuries that a small business owner has that we work very hard for on the other side in order to have. And I can honestly say that my time is my own generally. Of course, people say, oh yeah, be your own boss. That's really not, I don't use that phrase a lot because I don't think of it that way, because when I look at what that is saying, I actually look at my client list and say, as the leader of this company, I answer to every single one of these clients in a great way. I have great relationships with everyone that we work with, but really I am responsible to them. So am I really my own boss? You know, they kind of have a say um in what's happening and what's going on. And so I don't really look at it that way, but I definitely love the freedom. Um so I anyway, I just that was that. And so I left New York, I came back to Southern California to start this journey. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And as a matter of fact, it was actually the summer of 12 years ago that my company started, but I use this day, 12/12, uh as the actual date because this was the day 12 years ago when I met a woman named Nicole Kinney, and she was with the Inland Empire Women's Business Center. And the Women's Business Center is an initiative through the SBA, and they support women and men who are starting a business. They offer free consulting, workshops, all types of resources. And when I met Nicole, she helped me to stay organized and on top of launching my business. And so there was just that to me was like the real moment when I truly started my business. But while I was in New York, I started doing research and I just did all the things that I thought I needed to do. I just Googled it and figured out what needed to be done. But I do remember those days like it was yesterday. I know my roommate, who now actually works here at Socialize LA, Farron, she will remember those days fondly when this became my whole world. So, thanks, Beth. Thanks, Elizabeth. Um, but yeah, so we didn't know that 10 years later, she would start working here as well. So, it's just been such a wild ride. I have whenever I'm out and about and I hear people say, oh, I'm starting a business or I'm new, I have such a compassion for those people. I often get introductions with people who are starting marketing agencies or starting businesses. People say, hey, can you come in, or can you, just have a conversation? And, as busy as I can be, I do try and make time for people who are just getting started. So I give them like the rundown. Now I have a note on my phone that says, what my top advice is. And that's about pricing, setting expectations, blocking time and getting organized. So these are like my go-tos, like this is what you don't want to do, this is what you do want to do. And I really do hope that it helps. I have met with so many different people and people who are starting digital marketing agencies, and it's no problem. Thank you, Justin. It's no problem because I'm happy to support them. And there is so much business to go around. And as a matter of fact, as digital marketers, we can collaborate together. Um, I don't come into business with the mindset of, there's not enough. There's just no, there's so many businesses, there's so many opportunities, and you know how that goes. But I don't want to go down that road. I can get really sidetracked really quick. So, but that's how it started. Um, if you don't know this, my first paying client was actually my husband. He wasn't my husband then. He was my friend who realized what I was doing and he needed a website. And so I built his website and I built his friend's website. And so those are my two first clients. And little did I know, months and months later, we would start to date. And a couple of years later, we would be married. And just this past November, we celebrated our 8 years of marriage. So how exciting is that, right? I know these are all the highlights, but there definitely been the challenges. And all I have to say to all of, if you're watching this and you're a professional or you are a salesperson, you are a small business owner, is you have to just hold tight to your mission and to the vision of your career or your business. And then that will help you to weather all the storms. That will help you to decide, is this worth it? Is this worth what I'm going through? And I love that, Hannah. Socialize LA turns 12. Hashtag Socialize LA turns 12. Hannah is our newest team member. Hannah, we love having you. But so you hold on to those moments. I mean, you hold on to your vision and the mission of your career and your business as you weather the storms. Storms come in all different shapes and sizes, whether it's lost deals, difficult clients, difficult situations, personal issues that arise that now you have to maneuver through. I mean, anything can happen. And so I can say that that's been something that I've held on to. I just have known that I've known from like the deepest part of me that what I'm doing is right. And I just need to continue the course during the harder times. I can honestly say that in 12 years, there has only been 3 times that I have said to myself, I'm done. I'm pretty sure I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And we don't need to get into what those 3 times were, but I believe that it was just like an intersection of a bunch of challenges. And finally I just said, no, I just don't need to do this, and now at this stage of my career, I definitely have the opportunity to consult with larger businesses and maybe not support the small business. And I'm not doing that. My goal is to support the small business. And that's why I continue to grow the team. And now that we're growing the team, giving more opportunities to them, giving more opportunities to them to rise to the occasion and do things that maybe once I was doing, and I can just support them on a more strategic and leadership level and train them and show them. I mean, it just feels so good. Even just saying it feels so good. If you feel my energy, if you feel that I'm excited, you're right. I am. I mean, there is just so many amazing things that are happening right now as we speak. And this is what I've been telling everyone in 2020 who have asked me, well, what do I do with my marketing right now? I mean, people aren't buying. Don't say people aren't buying, because people are buying. People are buying. If you tell yourself they're not buying, you're just putting yourself in a really weird space, because people are making decisions for their businesses and for their, consumer spending. And so it's important that you start to find the spaces where that's happening, find out, the angle for your business. But if you plan on being in business or pursuing your career after 2020, you have to continue to be visible. This is not this live is not a propaganda for marketing. This is my story, my 12-year story, our 12-year story. But it's just important, and you can't talk to me for 5 seconds about business without me talking to you about the power of visibility. So yes. But how we started and where we are, of course, at the beginning, it was just me. It was just me for a while. And then I started hiring contractors to come on and support me with being an assistant and doing social media. And so on and so forth. And then in the last few years, we're really drilling down on our team. We have the best team, along with some really great partners who are other companies that we bring on to support us in projects, and even sometimes our own day-to-day. But I want to say that in 12 years in business, for me, I would say that one of the hardest lessons learned is one of the hardest lessons learned is in the hiring process. And the hiring process was something that I definitely learned the hard way. But it's to hire people who are enthusiastic. Our business is socializela.com, and we are a marketing agency in Los Angeles, and we serve businesses across the United States. Thank you for asking. But hiring someone who is enthusiastic and has even a faint background in what it is that I needed has been the key. We need people who are as energized as I am about what we do and who we serve and why we serve them. And I will tell you right now, the players we have on the team are doing just that. And what they've done for me this year is they've re-energized me. And I cannot carry this team. Although I lead the team, I lead this company, I make all the major decisions. It is not, they fuel me. I need this. I need them. And so it's like this like reciprocal thing. I know that they need me. And I need them. So it's really important to be picky about who you're bringing on your team and why. And I wish that I would have found out earlier what it was to hire someone as an employee, because I think that always scared me. And that's why I just didn't want to deal with it. I just thought, no, that's for bigger businesses. No, it was actually quite easy. Well, it was not easy, but it was easier than I had envisioned, and I had made it in my head. So another hard lesson was, staying away from and shying away from next level things because I was nervous about it. And I'm not really a nervous type of a person. I mean, most people would probably say that I'm a risk taker. I am a risk taker. I'm a calculated risk taker. And perhaps the risks that you see me doing, you don't know that I'm already really confident in that area. So what you think might be a risk isn't that risky to me. And what you might not think is risky might be super risky to me because I'm not super confident in it. So yeah, but that's a little bit of the thought process there. I know I'm rambling now, but this is just fun. If you have any questions and you're watching, please put them out there. I mean, everything is free game-ish. But yeah, so now that I've talked a little bit about my challenges, I want to talk about the wins. The wins, I have seen a lot of the fruit of my labor even come to like the surface this year, which is so crazy to me. I mean, I think I've just always been so busy in the doing, again, thinking about the people that I've had on staff, awesome people. But what we really needed were those people who were going to be really enthusiastic about the brand. And so now not only do we have employees, but they're also brand ambassadors. They're out, on the front lines talking about the company because they're so excited about it. And that is awesome. I want them to take ownership, and, they're just as much a part of this company as I am. And I mean that. And I tell them that. Even if, like I said, Hannah has only been with us for 2 months now, I think, maybe a little under 2 months. But yeah, so anyway, but this year I have started maybe to even pay attention, but people have told me multiple times, Margaret, it's amazing that you've been in business this long. And I don't know what to make of that, and so I dug a little deeper and I said, well, what do you mean by that? Like, me personally, because I never knew a business owner, or I didn't know how to run a business when I first started, but really they don't know that. They don't know me that long. And they said no, but to have an agency this long and to be tried and true, that's what's amazing. And so to me, that's like, wow, that's awesome. Thank you for noticing. And like I said, the time has just flown by. So I don't really think about it. And one of my major aha moments from our 10-year anniversary was the fact that I never used to celebrate anything. I never celebrated a win. I never celebrated a milestone, because the minute we would hit a goal, the minute we would hit a milestone, I would say, okay, on to the next goal, and just be so focused on the next thing that I would never stop to say, great job, Margaret. Now, I always acknowledge the team, but I'm not always acknowledging myself or the company, if that makes sense. So at 10 years, I said, no more. I celebrate everything. And so on our Slack, we use Slack to communicate. We have a channel called High Fives. And in High Fives, I celebrate all types of things. It's like, oh, so-and-so did this, or because I want people to know that I'm acknowledging and that we are celebrating everything. And so that was a aha moment from 10 years. But so this 12th year, I see other people just coming out of the woodwork, like tons of people who I've known for 8 years, 9 years. And they just say, I'm just really impressed with what you're doing with your company. You're always there. And it's been really reassuring and refreshing to see that. And so not always do we need that verbal confirmation, but it is nice to hear. It is nice to hear that people notice that. But we are here to stay. And to be honest with you, I've sat in sales meetings, and because there are, throw a rock and you're going to hit, 10 digital marketing agencies. This is a very saturated market. But again, we are not all the same. And I encourage people to work with the person that they like and that they trust and that knows their business. But I have sat in sales meetings and I know the person across the table, they've either worked with a digital marketing agency before and it was not so pleasant, or they're just very, very, very peculiar about how they're spending their money. They're worried. They're, have all the things, things that all of us decision makers go through, or consumers when we're buying something. And I have said, my reputation is everything. I am known in my community. I am known in the business community, the small business community in my city, as well as through multiple business organizations. And that has actually been something that people have said, oh, okay, because, your reputation is everything. But if you don't have anybody who knows your reputation or anyone in your circle, then, oh, who cares? But that's another reason why I like being so out in the open. It's like, me, you know how to find me, I'm not going anywhere. And that's the way this company is. And that's a win for me. That's a win for me. And I actually heard this tried and true statement from at least a handful of people who I trust and respect in business. And I have to say, it was it was a compliment, and I accepted the compliment, and I've really held on to it. So, and I did let them know that I really appreciated those words, and it meant a lot. Another win, I guess you can say, but an aha moment is my company is 12 years old. I started the company when I was 28. Do the math. I am getting older. I am hitting my 40th milestone as a person. And that's really exciting. But now what I'm realizing is that I now bring a lot of experience. People are I am no longer the youngest person in the room. I'm no longer the most junior person in the room. As a matter of fact, when it comes to my industry and my space, I am senior level. I am CMO level. I have that expertise. I have that background, and tried and true again. So this year, it's really come to surface. I have been working with a couple of people, and just in these last couple months, and they are much younger than me. And I can tell in the way that they work with me and that they talk with me that they do view me as someone senior. And I'm not, offended by that. I actually like it. I mean, it is what it is, and I embrace getting older. I am super excited. I actually turn 40 tomorrow. And I laugh because, growing up, you think of 40 and you think, oh my gosh, they used to call it over the hill. I don't hear anybody calling it that anymore. It's 40 and thriving. It's very exciting. And so if you're in my space, or, if you are in my community, or we're friends, we're colleagues, we celebrate 40. And I don't even care about age. I have so many friends, all different ages. And it's great. One of our newest team members is much, much younger. And I welcome her point of view and her perspective on life and on business, and on how we're doing things, because it matters. And yeah, so I think that's really exciting. Happy anniversary and congratulations on your perseverance and success. You are a rock star. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. Happy birthday weekend. 40s are great. Oh, I love it. Thank you. So in 12 years, we definitely have had a lot of wins, but let me just share a couple more of my favorites. When I started the company, if you remember 2008, 2009, where our country was, we were entering, or we were in the middle of the recession, that housing market bubble, all of that. If you don't remember what all that was, look it up. And I remember people saying, why are you starting a business in a recession? And and that right there, it's like, that's when I knew I thought differently, because I thought to myself, and again, I had barely any support. I had support from the IEWBC. But a lot of this launch was just my mind, and it was just me, myself, and I remember thinking, well, I'm going to start my company. It's going to take me a while to figure things out. And as soon as I'm up and running, we'll be out of a recession. Like, that's what I was thinking. I didn't have any concrete evidence or anything. But again, that's what my gut told me, my risk-taking abilities. That's what they told me. And so I went with it. Well, again, here we are in 2020. Arguably one of the worst years ever, on so many levels. But honestly, depending on how you're looking at it and how you've spent your time this year, this has been it's really hard to say. It's been an interestingly awesome year, because for me, it's been a time where I could just reset my mind, my body, my business, my soul, and just get clear on what I wanted, where I was going, and how I was going to do it. And that's what's happened. And so in that way, it's been great. Again, like I said, it's been a crazy year. We've had, at the beginning of this year, we lost a lot of business from people who were heavily impacted by the shutdowns and all of that. And so I thought, what are we going to do? And so with my maneuvering, I, along with Farron, who has been on the team for a couple years now, who knows, who sees. Her and I talked, and we just strategized, and we kept each other really positive and still having fun. And here we are today. And it's just been an awesome end of the year. So those are wins. These are wins. Lots of different wins throughout the years. But I think the best wins are the ones where there's been a challenge and we've been able to get through it together. And that's what this team is all about. It's pumping each other up, and that's it, like just being there for one another, being there to support our clients, and just having a really positive work environment. Do things get fast? Do things slip through the cracks? Do we have to learn? Do I need to mentor? Do I need to hold people accountable, including myself? Yes. The answer to all of those are yes. We are still a company. There are still meetings. There are still reviews. There are all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, we are here to support each other as we can, do our roles here at Socialize LA. So the next thing I want to say is just thank you. I want to first of all, I will thank my husband. He is my amazing support. He encourages me. It's like, what do I need to fly in this world of business? He's all about it. And I just cannot say enough about the support that he gives, and the guidance and all of that stuff. And actually at our house, sometimes we don't want to talk anything about business, and it's like no business. So he's just a great support in all ways. And then of course my family has just been there, from the very beginning. They supported me just in starting, like just cheering me on, but they also supported me financially, and they helped. My sisters, one of my sisters, bought me a laptop when I needed it because I just didn't have the revenues to do that. And, she made that happen. And another one of my sisters, in the very early years, I hadn't traveled in like 2 years or a year and a half because, I had no revenues, and it just wasn't in the cards for me. And they were running their first half marathon, and they treated me to a trip to Atlanta. And I tell them, and I haven't said it in a long time, but they don't know probably what that meant to me, because I love to travel. And during the early years, I could not travel. One of my dearest friends got married in New York, and to another dear friend, we were all friends in New York, and I couldn't go to their wedding. And that was like one of the saddest moments, but I just couldn't do it. And so there was a lot of sacrifices in this, a lot of earning years where I could have been climbing that corporate ladder. All of us business owners, we could be climbing this corporate ladder, and instead we invest in the business. And so yeah, but it's all good, right? But just thankful to my family and to my cousins and my friends. Just, again, they don't know the support in just the funny text messages that they send. Like, they may not know that it's been a hard day as a business owner or just as a person, but a funny text message comes through, and you're just, you just can't. I just can't thank them enough for just being the awesome people in my world. I also want to thank my NABO community. The NABO Nation has been an amazing part of who we are, who Socialize LA is today, is like NABO is like ingrained in what we do and who we are. I've learned so much from my NABO sisters about hiring, about accounting, about just weathering storms and strategic planning. And so many of my NABO sisters have hired us to do work and entrusted us with their business. And to me, that's just, I just want to thank you for that. I've never felt, although when I first started my journey with NABO as a member 8 or 9 years ago, of course, I was definitely one of the youngest in the room and also one of the most junior as a business owner. So I really had a lot to learn on all levels. And no one in NABO ever made me feel less than. Like never, ever, 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 ever. And NABO Los Angeles, when I was a member there, we had our membership meetings in a beautiful office in downtown. No, not in downtown, in Beverly Hills. And I had nothing to contribute. I could not say anything because I did not know anything about the organization or like anything. So I would just kind of sit there mute and just listen and soak it all in. But everyone just, they welcomed me and they mentored me. And I was in the room with some heavy hitters in Los Angeles who are still friends of mine to this day. So I cannot say enough about NABO. And more recently, I also joined the NLBWA in Los Angeles and also been a part of the Inland Empire chapter. And that's just been awesome as well. And so I can't stress enough how important it is if you are a business owner or you're a professional to get involved in these trade organizations. Like, don't do anything alone. You need a community. And these are the real deal. So if you have any questions about these organizations, please reach out to me because I would love to A, welcome you, and B, just give you some more insider info. But I am thankful to all the clients who we have served over the years, and all of the students that we've welcomed into our membership, as well as like our one-on-one students where I've supported different business owners in creating their Flex Your Influence plan. It is my great pleasure to do what I do. And when somebody says yes and they start going they invite us to be part of their journey, that means a lot to me. That means a lot to the team. We do not take it lightly. You are not just a number. You become part of become part of our mission. We become part of your mission. And that is only getting stronger. And what we're producing is only getting stronger. Staying on the front end of what's happening in marketing, in digital marketing. It's all part of it. So I can't thank our clients and our students enough for allowing us to join your journey. And then the last thing I want to say is, where are we going? Where's Socialize LA going? I know I've already said it a million times that, we're doing great things and we're just going to keep going. I will say that we're thinking about adding another home base in Orange County somewhere. Now with our new employees, where they reside, it just might make sense to also open an office in Orange County. So we have our office in downtown Los Angeles, which is currently completely closed. So obviously we're not really meeting anyone. And outside of COVID, we don't really meet people inside of our office. Nobody, people choose to do business on Zoom, or we go to their office if they are local. So we're thinking about that, which will be exciting. And I don't believe we'll be adding any new services anytime soon. I think we are really rich in what we are offering, and just are going to continue to do that. So we have our done for you, where we become your marketing department, our CMO services, where myself or Farron come to support you at a more senior level in direction in your marketing, and giving direction and guidance and training to your team. Done with you services, which would be our hybrid service, where we provide you content and you post it on your own, as well as becoming a member of the Flex Your Influence community. That's all under done with you. And then, of course, our web design, SEO, advertising, and email marketing services, which sometimes fall under a project by project scope of work. And I think we're just going to be staying there for a while. We are, during this transitional time, also supporting people as they have to start doing online events. And we have partnered with meetingnerd.com to do that. She and her team have been instrumental in that, and supporting people in moving their meetings, their one-on-one meetings, their conventions, 10,000 people, all the way down to 100 people. Like, there's a way for everyone to gather online, and Meeting Nerd knows how to get it done. So that's been really great, but that's a partner thing. That's not really something that we've brought on to our services. We like to stick with marketing strategy, etc. But I think that's where we're going. I think we're done hiring for a little bit, but who knows? You never know. The team is really strong right now, and we are just going to flex our own influence for a while, and have my shirt on. That was not planned. Flex your influence. This was part of our branding that I launched about 5 years ago. And just so you know, the thought behind it is that I would sit with small business owners. I've sat with hundreds and hundreds of business owners, right? And the majority of them struggle with the same things. And that's not knowing what to say, not knowing where to start, and not finding the time. And in all of that, there comes a hesitation, because a lot of them just are like, should I even be out there? There's already people in my industry talking about the topic, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not going to get into that, but yes, you need to be talking, even if people in your market and your competitors are already talking about your space, because people need to hear you say it. But I would have to remind business owners all the time, you're influential. You are influential. You are influential. You need to flex your influence. And that's how Flex Your Influence became a thing. And now it is the name of our community, which is our paid membership. And it's the name of our planner, the Flex Your Influence Planner. And it is our main hashtag that we use online. And so it has a life of its own. So I want to encourage you to flex your influence, whether you are a small business owner or you are a professional or a salesperson. Like, you need to flex your influence. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Some blasts from the past here. But I think that's it. I think that's where we're going. I've been on for 50 minutes. Oh my gosh. I was not planning on being on that long. So if you've caught all of this or a piece of this, I just want to thank you for dropping in and celebrating 12 years. Thank you for just being part of this community. Like, let's just continue to move forward together. Whether you're a client or you're a colleague, you're a NABO sister, an NLWBA sister, like, that's great. Let's just move forward. And that's about it. I'm Margaret Brown. I am the CEO and founder of socializela.com, and it is my great privilege to lead this team and to support small businesses in their marketing. And I am signing off, and I will see you again soon.